Hello everyone, it is me Kane, and welcome back to another video. And it's been a long time since I've done a video using SHAREfactory. I think the last time I did one was for my review on Exo Zombies. What are the odds? But anyway, that's another story for another day, and most people have been knowing I've been starting to do a lot of GTA Online stuff. And a lot of people have been saying, Kane, is this new? Well, my warrior, my friend, my pally wally. If you didn't know, I actually did GTA 5 videos back in the day. It was like one of them cringy video phone shit, but that's besides the point. That's another story for another time, for another day. Now, this video in specifically is in almost a way, it's like my personal opinion. Now, you know how most people know I did top 5s for Call of Duty Zombies, is like for maps or features or guns and all that. Well, I'm thinking about, before RDR2, I'll do it for GTA. And in this video, we will be doing my personal favorite DLCs from the GTA Online. And if you're wondering, Kane, why this DLC on? Why is this not? Well, it's my personal opinion. You ever heard of an opinion? I don't think you have. It's just fucking crazy, isn't it? Anyway, that's another story for another day, talking about opinion, the definition. Let's just get to number 5 before I get onto a fucking rant. We'll save that for GB. Coming in at number 5, we have the Lowriders DLC. And I know people are going to be like, Kane, this ain't no Lowriders DLC, this ain't the missions. Well, Sonny Jim, if I was to play the missions with randos, I'd lose my fucking sanity. And that's another story for another day. So, Lowriders. In this DLC, a lot of cool whips were released, such as the Buccaneer Custom, the Vigro Custom, I think it's called the Vigro, the Tornado Custom that was released in Part 2, the Minivan Custom, the Moonbeam making its return from GTA 3, coming here back in GTA 5 in the form of a Lowrider. That's pretty awesome. And in this DLC for Lowriders, it made you felt like you were in San Andreas. Even though you are technically in San Andreas, it made you felt like you were playing the game, you know, doing all sorts of crazy shit in the hood, you know, stealing Lowriders, popping whips, you know, all that crazy shit. And our boy Lamar, he returns in this wonderful DLC. Unfortunately, because of people which I'll get on to later, because of certain events, a certain friend of ours, Lee, doesn't come back for a long time. But in this DLC, Lowriders Part 1 specifically, introduced a brand new mod shop for the first time, and it was Benny's Original Motorworks, where you could upgrade Lowriders at the time, and later on you can upgrade other vehicles like the Sultan RS, the Banshee, all sorts of vehicles you can. And that was later down the road, but still, this DLC still has a special place in my heart because I still remember all the memes from Lamar on day 1 that me and my friends used to make back in the day. If anyone remembers the OGs, shout out to the OGs. But yeah, Lowriders, both parts specifically. Unfortunately, like Part 2 wasn't as good as Part 1. But I am putting both of them on there because they are both fantastic DLCs in themselves. They are very amazing, very good DLCs. Probably Rockstar's finest work, you know. And if you do like, and some people might disagree with me with that statement, but personally, I think it's a very good DLC. A lot of people, you know, they don't really talk about the Lowriders DLC whenever I see top 5s about best DLCs. It's usually about the businesses, or missions, or races. Nothing really that interesting, so I thought I'd spicing things up because I really love the Lowriders DLC. But anyway, if that's number 5 with Lowriders DLC, probably one of my favorite DLCs. So anyway, let's get to number 4. Let's do this. Number 4, woo. So coming in at number 4, we have Executive and Other Criminals, and this was probably the best DLC. For a long time, in my opinion, I thought this was the best DLC of all time. Well, second best DLC of all time. because soon, later down the road, you'll see which is my favorite. I'm not going to spoil it. Some people do actually know my favorite DLC, but I ain't spoiling it for you guys. So, Exhibitor of the Criminals, it was the very first DLC where we could have this new system called VIP, and at the time it was only VIP stuff. Nothing else. No bikers, no CEO, no cargo warehouses, no drug businesses for the biker businesses. None of that. Just a VIP system where you can only do the VIP challenges or work. And unfortunately, at the time, for most people, they weren't really. Some people I knew weren't a huge fan of it because you had to at least have over $1 million to start the whole thing. Before you ask, no. And I'm sick and tired of people saying this. No. You do not pay for the fucking VIP. The only time you actually pay is if you're going to be paying for a vehicle. You do not pay $50,000 million to become a fucking VIP. I'm sick and tired of people saying that. I just wanted to get that off my chest. But the VIP system is basically like the granddad, the beginning of the almost tragedy of GT Online. A lot of people thought originally this was going to be the final DLC for a long time. But then again, the good old clickbaiters say that. But personally, when this DLC first came out, I thought, there might be some more after this. There could be some more. And obviously we already knew with Lowriders Part 2. Lowriders Part 2 came out just after this DLC, along with the January DLC with Benny's new vehicles and all that, but we'll get on to that another day. But with Exhibitors and Other Criminals, the VIP system worked like this. If you had $50,000 or $1 million at the time when the system first was released, you could register for 4 real life hours to be a VIP, and you could do missions like, hostile takeover, as you can see in the gameplay right now, sightseer, exhibitive search, or some challenges like point-to-point, market manipulation, all that jazz. There was a lot of good stuff that came with this DLC, such as the Mamba car, the Class A camper, which was branded in the Christmas DLC for 2015, but it still technically was part of this DLC. But it had a lot of great stuff, and also it brought in still houses, penthouses in Eclipse Towers, and the infamous yacht. One would even argue saying that it's even more of a rip-off than the Golden Jet itself. But that's another story for another day. But personally, I'm gonna say this DLC was basically, it's like the grandfather for all the business DLCs to come. Although there was no business, this was like a tease for what we were getting into, because we didn't know if there was going to be any more after this. But personally, some people that had their eyes open, they knew that there was more coming. And some of the outfits you can get from being a VIP is pretty dope. But anyway, that's number 4, Exhibitors and Other Criminals, and let's go have a quick gander on what number 3 is. Number 3, Import Export. Wow. What can I say with this DLC? Wow. This DLC, at the time, people thought this was the final DLC again. Another episode of, is this the final DLC? And now I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be the first to say this, I don't care what people say. If this was the final DLC, this would have been the best DLC of all time. Mainly not because of the business, but because it was like a grand finale. A great revelation. It was the great end. It was the ending that us GTA Online fans was looking for at the time, because most people thought that RDR2 was just around the corner. Unfortunately, RDR2 got delayed a couple of times, and we had a few other DLCs come out, which we will talk about in another day, another video. But personally, this DLC is my third favorite DLC of all time. Why? Mainly because of the business. The business, in my opinion, is one of the most solo-friendly businesses next to the nightclub hub from After Hours. But we'll talk about After Hours another day, don't worry. Not today, but another day. This was... when it first came out, I first hated this DLC. I first fucking hated it. Like, I thought it was the worst business of all time. But that was because I never did my research. And obviously, you have to do your research before you judge things. And after playing the DLC for a little longer with some friends, I grew to love this DLC. I grew to love the business. I grew to love the vehicles that came out with it, like the Rocket Voltic, Ruiner 2000, Blazer Aqua, Ramp Buggy, the Phantom Wedge, etc., etc. I grew to love it, and I've personally wanted this to be my favorite DLC of all time. But it didn't. Now, let me just explain what Import-Export is first real quick. Import-Export is a business where you steal cars and you're basically, stealing it and putting it in your warehouse and to sell it to other buyers. The objective of this DLC is to become one of the biggest illegal car ring dealers of Los Santos. And, oh boy, does it show. It does show. It is fucking brilliant. Like the cars you can steal, like the Sterling GT, the T20, all of them. Oh, like you can put some mods on. Like it's amazing. And I know a lot of people that are a fan of cars. They're gonna love it. They love this DLC. But I can back up that claim. Most people that I know that are a fan of cars, like my friend aman_s786, shout out by the way, he loves cars. And although he's into Fortnite now, if he was still playing GTA, he'd be playing the shit out of this business. But, unfortunately, folks, this isn't my favourite DLC of all time, but it's my number 3. It is my number 3. I do like the business. I like its uniqueness on how, instead of stealing drugs or packages or, guns and all that, you're stealing cars. And some of the cars are, god damn, lovely looking cars, wonderful looking cars, oofa looking cars. But anyway, that's my number 3 spot. Let's go have a look what number 2 is, because I think we're gonna get our bikes on for this one. Coming in at number 2, we have the Bikers Update. And this is I love this DLC. I love it, I love it, I love it. As a person that does ride bikes a lot in GTA, well, before something came out, which we'll talk about another day, I loved this DLC. I loved the bikes. I loved the businesses. I loved everything about this DLC. People might be saying, "Kane, why is this number 2 though?" Well, there's something else that's better than this, but that's another. We'll talk about that shortly. Now, with the Bikers Update, you can finally there's a brand new system called the Motorcycle Club, which allows you to become a president and do multiple things such as biker contracts, club work, club challenges, and the business. The biker businesses is probably the best way of making money in this game. It is the best way. If you play the game regularly, at least. I know there's some people that don't play this game all the time, but hear me out. This is an amazing DLC. It's so fun. The businesses, goddamn businesses. Right. So the businesses. There are 5 businesses. There's document forgery, the weed farm, the counterfeit cash factory, the methamphetamine lab, and the cocaine lockup. These 5 businesses are passive income, which is a lot different than import, export, or finance and felony, or smuggler's run. as they work around while you're doing other activities such as death matches, heists, premium races, or walking in circles. And it's pretty fun. Honestly, if you're playing the contract missions or the challenges and all that, these businesses as well, you can make a fuck ton of money if you have both meth, coke, and counterfeit cash working while you're doing your own thing. Those are the best 3 businesses I'd recommend getting. I have all 5 of them, and I would recommend cash, coke, meth. Don't get the other 2 businesses because they may be the fastest, but they don't make the most amount of money. And with this DLC, a lot of bikes came out. A lot of bikes, such as the Nightblade, the LCC Centrus, the Shatoro Tron bike. There was a lot of things that came out in this DLC. There was even a few cars, like the Tornado Hot Rod. I can't fucking remember what it's called. There was like the freewheeler car, the BF Raptor, I think it was called, and there was the Bravo Yogo, I think it was called, the classic version, I think it was. And there was the modifications for the bikes, the clubhouses. It was amazing. It was awesome. You can make a lot of money through the businesses as well. Now, some people might already know this. Well, if you didn't, then well, ain't that a shame. Most people know I am a man that likes gameplay, and unfortunately, with this biker business, unless you're doing the supply runs, there's not much gameplay with this. Now, I do love this business. I do love this DLC, don't get me wrong. But it isn't as action-packed, you know? It doesn't have as much emotional drama in terms of the choices you can make. It doesn't affect your ways of making money as much. Because unless you're playing these businesses in public sessions, you're pretty much piss and dandy you are. If you're doing it alone with some friends. Now, what can beat bikers? One may ask. What can beat a fantastic business with fundamental stuff that made the groundbreaking for other businesses, such as the After Hours Hub or the Gun Running Bunker. Sorry, I forgot I had a brain fart then. Well, my friends, if you're wondering that question, you're about to find out, because I'm just gonna say this. This DLC is the reason why I play this game every day, most of my time. If I'm not playing other games, I'm playing this game, and this DLC was what brought me here permanently to stay. We waited 2 years, 2 whole years for this DLC, and can I just say, that wait was fucking worth it. Coming in another one, we have the Heists DLC for GTA Online, probably the best DLC of all time, and I just gotta say this. Rockstar, my man, my homies, my G's, this is probably your biggest masterpiece since the Battle of the Gay Tony. The Heist update. Oh, I really want them to make a Heist Part 2, and I mean a proper Heist Part 2 that isn't robot shit. We'll talk about robot shit another day. And I'm just gonna say this, all the heists, Series A funding, Pacific Standard, Humane Labs, Fleetza, Prison Riot, I've had the most fun playing these heists. Mainly because you never know what's going to happen. You don't know, the suspense always kills you. And if you didn't know, I actually recently helped my friend GB get the Criminal Mastermind Challenge done on it, which I've also done myself, but that was a long time ago. And I'm just going to say this, the Heist DLC is probably the best way of making money of all time. Mainly because of that fucking challenge, the Criminal Mastermind Challenge. People say that shit is impossible. You're a moron. You're an absolute moron if you think it's impossible. I was able to do it with with someone that doesn't play a lot, someone that, you know, is pretty good, and someone that isn't the best. If I'm able to do that with, you know, average players like myself, then surely you can do it too. Don't say you can't. With the Heist DLC, it's basically, as my friend GB would say, it basically completed GTA Online. There was like a tiny piece of the puzzle missing there was on launch, and that was heists. We had to wait 2 years, we did. And I'm gonna say this, that wait was worth it because of the content we got, and the classic free mode events that we got, and I still miss them to this day. I know a lot of other people do. Hashtag bring back classic free mode events, Rockstar. But I'm gonna say this, this DLC is the reason why I play every day on this game. Mainly because if this DLC didn't come out at the time when I needed it to come out, I wanted something cool to come out, I probably wouldn't be playing this game today. I do play it, but it's like every now and, like, if I was to play it back then, it would be every now and then. When this DLC came out, I was grinding the hell out of this game. And I'm gonna say this is, in my opinion, the best DLC of all time. Because of the action pack, the vehicles, the missions, the challenges, the risks, and all that you can make. It is amazing. This is probably the best DLC Rockstar's ever made for this game, because it was like a passion project. It was. We all wanted Heist to come out. We did really early on, and I know people complained. Lots of people were like, "Oh, why is it not out yet?" Well, I'm sorry, Sonny Jim. You have to wait a little bit, but trust me, that wait was worth it. But anyway, guys, that was it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. My Discord is the Kingdom of Boogie Boys. I just made it recently. My Snapchat and Instagram is its_Kane. If you want to subscribe, feel free to, my man. I'm not gonna force you into it. And as always, I will see you guys in the next one.